Great. So next, I would like to introduce you guys to Yuichi. So Yuichi is a freelance software engineer who has 7 years of experience and loves Ruby, Elixir, and TypeScript. Today, he's sharing all about MCP servers. Please welcome Yuichi.
Hello everyone, I'm Yuichi Kojima. So today I want to talk about my experience building model context protocol server that connect my MCP server with AWS S3. So okay, let's get started. Let me about myself. I've been software engineer more than 7 years, and so I really like working with Ruby and TypeScript. So yeah, sorry, I'm a Rubyist. So well, and also I'm from Japan. So yeah, sushi is kind of in my blood. Yeah. So
I like sushi.
Oh, thanks. So. But as a Japanese person, I want to say California roll is not sushi, I think. Okay, well, anyway, let's jump into we're covering today's topic. Okay, here's what I talk about in our time together. So first, so I introduce a quick overview of MCP. Well, and MCP, why it matters, and then I show you how I built MCP server with using SDK and AWS S3. So and then sorry. I share about demo of MCP accessing AWS S3. So finally, I wrap up with the key lessons I've learned from this project. So let's start with understanding MCP is all about. So before I dive in, I want to ask everyone. So, how many people in here you know about MCP? Please raise your hand. Okay. Oh, there are a lot of people, but I see some people who don't know about MCP. So yeah, I will explain overview. Well, so MCP means Model Context Protocol. It's like a USB-C port for AI. So without MCP, so LLM couldn't access your data and couldn't use specialized tools. And whatever. Yes. Anyway, so MCP has a power to connect with LLM. So so to understand about MCP, so I'll show you MCP architecture. So this diagram shows how MCP works. On the left side is Claude or GPT linked to MCP client. On the right side is MCP server with MCP SDK and my custom server. And the server also talks to external APIs such as GitHub API or AWS S3. So this architecture has created a whole ecosystem of applications that now support MCP. So But for today's presentation, I'll focus on just two key features of MCP. First is tools. Tools is it lets AI model perform specific actions like searching the web or calling web APIs. And so this is what I primarily used for my S3 server implementation. So second, resources. Resources give AI models access to external data like files or database information. So MCP actually has other features like prompt and tools, but I won't be covered today because time constraint. Well, so the ecosystem is growing rapidly. Well, well, so, so for example, Cloud Desktop and VS Code, GitHub Copilot, and Cursor Editor, Windsurf, and other more than 25 applications support MCP. So, so now let's see how I joined this ecosystem. So, well, my AWS S3. So, okay, let me introduce my project, AWS S3 MCP. You can find it GitHub repository and npm package and also mcp.so. So the MCP server lets Cloud directly interact with AWS S3 bucket. I built it using TypeScript and the official MCP SDK. My goal was to create a bridge between Cloud Desktop and AWS S3. So, okay, let's look at details. Well, my MCP server has three main features: list available S3 bucket and list object in bucket and retrieve object content. The basic feature help Cloud work with your S3 data directly. So next, I'll explain how I built this using the MCP SDK. Okay, this is my MCP server implementation overview. So firstly, I import MCP server class from MCP SDK and also STDO server transport to connect Cloud Desktop. So then I create server instance for MCP server. So and then so server.to is like web API endpoint. So this tool method get bucket file. So in my opinion, the implementation is similar to Node.js Express. So this makes MCP development simple and easy, even for beginners. So, okay, let's look at specific implementation to see how this work in practice. Well, so here's the actual code for the list bucket tool class. This class lets Cloud see what S3 bucket you have available. Well, it works like this. First, I set the tool name and description. And then in execute method, I use my custom class named S3 resource to get file in the bucket. So now that I show how the server works, so let's talk about aspect, well, its security. Well, surprisingly, security is very important of MCP server. And so a recent analysis found serious security problems in many MCP servers, including command injection, path traversal, and server-side request forgery. So this slide shows exact percentage, but the key point is that these vulnerabilities are very common and dangerous. So I've created a diagram to illustrate. This is my approach to improve security. Well, so firstly, Docker container gives the first level of isolation. Inside that, I use a non-root user, then applies Dino's permission limit and control network access. So, I skipped it. So my security approach is using Docker for isolation and Dino, JavaScript runtime with built-in permission system. So, my approach is like this. So, next slide. So, how do I achieve this approach? So, I'll show Docker file. So, here's my Docker file with security features. I start with the official Dino image, and then so using a non-root Dino user to limit access. So, and adding specific permission rules in the entry point. So, and finally, run command. So this container approach keeps the MCP server separate from your host. Okay, so next is about Dino. Dino is different from Node.js for security. Node.js gives access to everything by default, but Dino doesn't allow anything unless you say it's okay. So this command shows what Dino can do. You can see it only can connect S3 and use specific environment variables and only read files in one folder. So this makes the server safer because it was limited access to your system. So, let's see configuration insecure and secure. So in conclusion, so if you if you develop MCP server, you should write like this configuration. So I mean that use Docker. So I'm gonna show demo part. So I'm going to ask Claude to summarize shortly the PDF file content about Canada's tax return for 2025 via S3 MCP server because I am a self-employment person. So, and I have to pay my tax after this presentation. So, let's move on demo. Okay. First of all, Cloud Desktop try to get list bucket, and so request us use MCP tool. So next, Cloud Desktop retrieve PDF file and convert PDF to text. Okay. Yeah. So finally, Cloud Desktop generates summary about related to prompt. Okay. Yeah, it works. So, okay. From this project, I've learned 3 main lessons about MCP. Well, first, MCP changes that AI can do. It turns basic chatbot into helpful assistants that work with your real data and systems. And second, uh, development of MCP is not difficult. So the SDK does most of the hard work. So that's why we can concentrate on implement of tools. So yeah, and the third, security is possible with Docker and Dino because Docker has a power for isolation, and Dino's has built-in permission flags. Okay. Thank you all for listening. I hope this talk has given you some helpful and inspired you about MCP deployment. Well, yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Yuichi. If you guys have any questions for him, feel free to find him after the event. Or do you want to take a question?
Well, okay, just one question.
Just one question. Who has a question? Gavin has a question going once. No, I'm gonna. You always ask questions, Gavin.
I noticed you use the stdio version. Did you try to deploy a server as well?
Server. Well, so you mean that a remote server, right? Well, unfortunately, I've never tried it because so the current TypeScript official SDK doesn't support hosting remote, but the current so new specification of MCP version is about March 26 is support remote MCP and authentication by using OAuth. So that's why, yeah, we need a couple of time to deploy the remote.
Check out my YouTube video.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yuichi. All right.